Hello, welcome back to the Cricket Nerds, and don't unsubscribe, okay? Just stick around because we have just witnessed one of the greatest Test matches of all time. It was absolutely incredible. We'll talk about India versus England, day 4 of the first Test match. Oh my goodness, what a series we've got in store. Um, I I don't know where to go first, but I'll tell you where I'm gonna start with Hyderabad as a place and as a venue and as a pitch.
Okay.
And what I want to say is well done to the ground staff at Hyderabad because they made a test match pitch that was absolutely outstanding. It turned from day one, and yet it wasn't like an absolute unplayable pitch for either side.
Yeah.
There was enough in it so that wickets could be taken, and it changed a bit as the match went on, but it was incredible. Like that was a perfect test match pitch, and it made for an absolutely outstanding test match that had me on the edge of my seat for ages. It got me waking up at 4 a.m. English time, which that takes some doing. So, for me to actually want to wake up in the early hours, that's pretty special. And I have no regrets as well. I'm absolutely exhausted and I have zero regrets about it. So right. That was a bit of a monologue. I'm all over the shop. But Benji, what just what are your reactions? What are you feeling?
I mean, wow. I think this has been, again, another exciting day of Test cricket. I think we saw a good bit of fight from both teams. Um, and as you say, it's just been a really good exhibition of Test match cricket. It seemed like it ebbed and flowed the whole way through. There were times when it looked like India had the upper hand, times when England had the upper hand. And really, it took an outstanding performance from Ollie Pope to play, as Joe Root described it, a generational innings. And it took a fantastic, I think, bit of captaincy um, from Stokes to keep trusting Tom Hartley, and for Tom Hartley himself to keep his nerve to bowl through India in over the course of today. I mean, it was a great day of cricket, wasn't it? I mean, it started off with Ollie Pope getting very close to 200. He
Yeah,
eventually,
let's talk about Pope first,
yeah,
actually, because obviously we saw the bulk of his innings yesterday, and it was outstanding. It brought England from a position where India were firmly on top and applying a lot of pressure to a position where England started to have some hope, which as a fan of any cricket team, you know that it's the hope that kills you, and you get very scared when
mm,
as soon as there's a chance that you might be able to win something. And Pope did that. He gave a bit of hope, and I've got to say he was really ably supported by the bowling all rounders
yeah,
because I remember a couple of videos ago you mentioned that there's a gulf in difference between like Rahan Ahmed, Tom Hartley, and Mark Wood, and then Jadeja, Ashwin, and
Axel.
Axar Patel.
Mm,
And that's true. That's still true. India have got genuine all rounders there. But Rahan Ahmed and Tom Hartley, I thought they both looked really, really good. They supported Ollie Pope, who was still playing incredibly well. And both of them are really young. Rahan Ahmed is still a teenager. Tom Hartley's only 24. The fact that those guys in, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years could still be playing test match cricket and will have a lot more batting practice and bowling practice under their belts, they could be really good. So I was super impressed with them, and they deserve their own special shout out just for the batting because them and Ollie Pope were brilliant.
yeah.
They were also like Ashwin was still really good, and I've got to say that it's it's to England's batsmen's credit how well they dealt with the quality of India's bowlers because they weren't bowling particularly bad. They were forced off their lines and lengths a little bit, But the only person that really stood in defiance and wasn't forced off line length or anything, and that was really dictating the play, was Jasprit Bumrah.
Mm.
What did you think of his performance?
Again, it's another outstanding performance from Bummer, isn't it? He seems to be the only guy that can just make something happen on these spinning pitches. Like these pitches where there's not a lot in it for the seamers, it's not moving loads for the seamer. He just extracts something off the pitch. He's just such an extraordinary talent. The fact that, yeah, Bumrah took 4 wickets in the second innings and 2 in the first. So he took 6 of the wickets, and England took 0 wickets with seam. You know, Mark Wood didn't manage to get a wicket in either innings, but yet Bumrah has struck in both innings. It just goes to show how much of a quality bowler Jasprit Bumrah is. So the next Test match is in Vizag, and I'm not too sure what it's like as a surface, but I'd actually be expecting to see maybe James Anderson come in to that side, because I think Anderson will be someone who will be able to extract a bit out of it because he gets that movement in the air rather than get the movement off the pitch. Especially with Jack Leach's injury, I think we might see a bit more seam coming in, especially just because of how well Bumrah managed to do.
You know, that's actually worth dwelling on a little bit, because both teams have now got an injured left arm seamer.
Yeah.
We don't know. I haven't heard anything, at least from India, on the state of Jasprit Bumrah. But he did limp off. He got run
Jadeja.
out. Did I say Bumrah?
Yeah,
Sorry, I meant to say
Jadeja.
Ravi Jadeja. He was run out incredibly by Ben Stokes.
Incredible, yeah.
But at the end of that run out, he did clutch his hamstring. And, you know, at first I was like, oh, is that the classic, you know, dad at a sports day when he's losing, he'll pretend he's pulled a hammy? Or is it actually he's done something bad? So I don't think it's that good. You know, I'm a bit worried for him. So we'll have to see how that pans out. But it could be that Jadeja and Leach both miss out on the next Test match. In which case, yeah, I think James Anderson getting in would be a pretty decent trade-off.
I mean, we've seen
for
James
England.
Anderson bowl his left arm orthodox before as well. So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, that's so true.
he can
Never
come
in a
in as a
match, but we've
seamer.
seen it in the net.
He could
And
see
then
come in as a seamer or a left arm spinner.
yeah, and the fact that India can just swap in Kuldeep Yadav, who for me would walk into any side in the world as a spinner. It's impressive the amount of depth that they have.
Yeah.
Right.
think
So we've
what's
talked about the bowlers.
Yes, I was just going to say what's reassuring for England is even though Leach is injured, we've seen in this test sort of a coming of age thing of Tom Hartley, like that how he was in the first test, smashed all over the place in the first innings, but that faith that Stokes put in him today. And let's not undervalue, as you've mentioned, Hartley's contribution with the bat today as well. I think him and Pope put on 80 odd for the 8th wicket, and 80 what turned out to be vital runs in England winning. It was the difference between a 150 lead and a 230 lead, which yeah ultimately was vital. And yeah, India just weren't quite able to chase that down. But I think you were going to move on to India's batting innings and England's bowling innings. So what are your thoughts?
It was I mean, it was so exciting to watch from either side, because it ebbed and flowed. You know, that this whole Test match, and every Test match has a bit of an ebb and flow in terms of where the momentum is and who's, you know, looking like they're on top. And the way that India started, they looked really quite good. You know, Rohit Sharma and Yashasvi Jaiswal looked pretty decent, and then Jaiswal, you know, he moves forward and he middles it. To be honest, it comes out of the middle of the bat, flicks it off his legs against Hartley, and he comes straight into the hands of Pope, which was a really sharp catch at short leg, and that really set the tone, because after that, 2 balls later, Shubman Gill pushes at one a little bit. It was meant to be a defensive stroke, but the bat was not quite angled like that. It was more like that. That's horrible if you're an audio listener. Sorry. It wasn't quite angled at 45 degrees. It was more at 90 degrees, which meant that Ollie Pope at he was either at
It
short.
was a silly
No, he
point.
would have been at silly
It was a
point, wasn't
silly
he?
point for kill, yeah.
And again, a really sharp catch. So Pope and Hartley, absolute story of the Test match, and that really swayed it into England's favour. And then, yeah, a few more wickets happen. Pretty crazy stuff. I'm sure there'll be things that you want to pick up on. But then Ravi Jadeja's run out was a massive one. And
Yeah.
then Shrikar Bharat and Ravi Jadeja put on a really good partnership
Ashwin.
and they looked
Ravi
really
Ashwin.
threatening. I don't know
Ashwin,
about
not
you, but I
Jada.
was like, India have won this now. Like India are going to get over the line. And then Hartley bowls an absolute, I'm going to call it a Jadeja-esque Jaffa, where it pitched on like middle and leg and hit the top of off against to get KS Barrett out. And then Ravi Ashwin runs past one, stumped by Ben Folkes. And then Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Siraj. And oh my goodness, I was so nervous because I genuinely thought they were going to get over the line. And Ben Stokes he was getting any play and miss and trying to stumping, hoping for the best. And then finally, Mohammad Siraj goes for the massive swing. Folkes takes the bails off. Hartley's a hero. And England just got over the line, but it was so close.
That was poetic. That was
I
poetic.
realized I just monologued the whole match, but
Yeah.
I've just got to get
Yeah.
it off my chest. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
I mean, you did say it was a partnership between Barrett and Jadeja, not Barrett and Ashwin, but that's
I keep on
okay.
doing that. What's
And then
going
you
on with
said that
me?
Stokes tried to stump Bumrah, but it's okay. We forgive
Look,
you.
I'm
It was a
right.
good,
Okay,
it was a
I
poetic monologue.
I'm
This just goes to show the commitment that James has had to this game
I'm on
because
3 hours of sleep. Okay.
James is currently here delirious because he's been waking up at 4 a.m. to watch these matches. So yeah, we'll forgive him some name drops there. But yeah, I think Tom Hartley today is that big story, isn't he? Like the night and day difference between Hartley in India's first innings and Hartley in the second innings is just immense. The amount of difference that he bowled, he was so much shorter of a length in that first innings. I think we saw that he was missing his length a little bit, and every time he did that, he got punished. Whereas today, in this innings, he bowled so much fuller, and it was the balls that were a bit more full of a length that were the ones that took that wicket. I mean, the one that went through the gate to Barrett was such a good ball. It just turned enough, but not too much. I just want to say as well, one crucial wicket for me that swayed it was when Shreyas Iyer and KS Barrett were batting together, because Shreyas Iyer was there as sort of the last registered out and out batter, and I think Hartley just bowled quite a long spell at him. And Stokes made this bowling change to bring Leach on, and there's just ever so amount of difference in how the two of them deliver. Hartley's that little bit taller than Leach, and you could see that Shreyas was playing the same like defensive shots that he played to Hartley, where it was just enough to cover the wickets, but it wasn't too much where he'd get an edge. And then he played that same shot to Jack Leach because, you know, he'd got used to the rhythm of Hartley's bowling. And when Jack Leach did it, it was ever so slightly different, turned a bit, he pitched it slightly differently and you know, took that edge and was a regulation catch to Leach. I think that was just a regulation catch to Root. I think that was just a fantastic piece of captaincy today. And yeah, the faith that Ben Stokes showed in Tom Hartley as well.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
you know
If I
what? I
was
do
his,
want to actually pick up on Jack Leach because you
yeah,
did mention that he was slightly different. He got a little bit, I think it was a little bit less turn, wasn't it, than
yeah,
Hartley?
yeah,
And yeah, like
yeah, that's what I meant.
Shreyas when he came in, he had some words with Leach. You know, there was a little bit of sort of animosity between those two, so it was interesting to see that. And then, yeah, like he takes the edge, and it was a massive impact. But Leach is injured.
Mm.
Leach had a knee the size of a basketball, so and it was all strapped up. And there is something to be said about when players get a bit injured, that sometimes, like a bit injured, can sometimes mean that it focuses them more.
Glenn
Like they have to
Maxwell.
really think about what they're doing. Yeah, Glenn Maxwell's a great example. Ben Stokes, we've seen it before where he's like limping between the stumps. We've seen it now with Jack Leach in the West Indies Australia game that we might release a video for. There was another one with Joseph. So it's really, it can help in a
Mm.
weird way just to focus the player, really concentrate on what they're doing, and it brings out a different side and a grit and a fight with them. And that's what we saw in Leach. It was oh, it's going to take me a while to recover from this. One
It
last thing
was
on
great.
Hartley,
Yeah.
and one reason why he got better is I think he learned quite a lot
Mm.
from watching and facing Ravi Jadeja and Ravi Ashwin, because those two, I think beforehand there was all this talk about the fact that they bowl quite fast, especially Jadeja, and he does. You know, I've seen it in real life, and it is fast. It's faster than I could bowl, and I think I bowl seam up. So, you know, it is impressive, but those two weren't actually bowling as fast,
Mm.
and I think Hartley realised that. And he slowed down a little bit in the second innings, and he got way more turn. And obviously, it was turning a little bit more by then anyway.
Yeah.
But he did change slightly the way he was bowling, and he reaped the reward. So I think that ability to learn and to apply those that new information is what makes a good test match bowler, especially a spinner. So really good to see that from him.
I want to ask you a question, James, before we finish and potentially preview the next match. I don't know if we're going to preview the next match or not. But my question is, England
Mhm.
in this series, what do you think is going to be more important for England? Joe Root the batter or Joe Root the bowler in this series? Because in this match, definitely he has more of an impact with the ball in the second innings and the bat in the first innings. Don't know. What do you think?
That's a really interesting question because Joe Root, the bowler, has, like you say, been one of the best. You know, I until Hartley bowled today, I would have said he's been England's best bowler,
Mm.
and especially with Leach getting injured, could have a massive role to play. Um, I'm actually tempted to say Root the bowler is more important to England's plans. But that being said, Root the batter, he is still our best player of spin.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, not all pitches are going to be like Hyderabad. Not all pitches are going to be the perfect test match wicket, which means there are going to be harder places to bat. There might be some flatter, but Joe Root is going to have a big role to play. So I might actually, I think I said my answer, but I'm changing it now. I'm going to say Joe Root, the batter, is still
Okay.
going to be the most
Yeah.
important role for
Yeah.
England in the future test
I,
matches.
I haven't actually decided in my head. I'm looking forward to seeing it as the series plays out because that partnership in England's first innings between Root and Bairstow really, dragged England kicking and screaming a bit more back into the game. He also then took 4 wickets in the first innings. So yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? I think we're in for a good series just from that game. We were going there expecting all-out whitewash, which probably most of our fans would have loved an all-out whitewash. But I think let's be there for cricket. Cricket, we want to see some good cricket played, and I think we are. I think we're going to be treated to it in the rest of this tour. So we've only got 7 days, no, less than 7 days to wait for the beginning of the second test next Friday. So what do we
I'm
think?
so I'm so excited for it. Let us know what you think in the comments. I've been really like pleasantly surprised by the amount of positivity that we've had in the comments. There hasn't been like that toxic fandom at all. It's been very much this is awesome to see. This is really good cricket, and what better time to prove how Test cricket is the pinnacle than a match like this? So don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to stick
Hmm.
around for these future test matches for the rest of the series because it is going to be incredible. Let us know what your series prediction is. Do you think this is, England's lucky break and it's going to be 4-1 from here? Do you think it could be close to 3-2? Either way, do you think England are going to win 5-0?
I
I
don't think
don't,
we're definitely not going
but
to get a draw. That's for sure.
no, I can't see a draw happening unless there's something crazy with the
Yeah,
weather.
or rain.
But
Yeah.
let us know what you think, because I just hope you all enjoyed that as much as we did. So yeah, like and subscribe, please. If you are feeling especially generous, then please consider becoming a member. It is the best way to support the channel, and you get early releases, you get bonus content, you get emojis and badges that you can use on our videos, and we can see them. You get your name at the start of the video, like you saw, and you get some shout outs because you're awesome. So, in fact, on the top of my head are 4 members that we currently have: PD, Gokul Garg, BMK, and look who's watching. Thank you all so much. You're absolutely awesome. So, yeah, we'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.